with Chad and Dale.
It's Movember, so we thought we would bring to you the Saturday Night Five right here on the tip in. And tonight on the Saturday Night Five, we're going to do 5 mustaches in Leaf history that are underrated. Not the greatest, the ones that you don't think of, the ones that don't come to your head when you think great Leaf mustaches.
The most underrated Leafs mustaches of all time.
For Movember, it's time for Saturday Night Five. All right, Dale, you get the honors of rolling us in at number 5.
Number 5, most underrated Toronto Maple Leafs mustaches of all time.
Give it to me.
I'm going to start with a goalie here. Now, this guy did not play a lot of hockey for the Leafs. He was mainly a backup during the Felix Potvin days in the early 90s. But if you take a look at some of these team pictures, I guarantee you he would have played more games if the coaching staff would have really paid attention to his mustache, okay? And I'm going to start with number 5. This might be a very interesting pick. I'm talking about Ken Raggett.
Ken Raggett?
Ken Raggett. He was a backup for a short period of time during the Felix Potvin days. But if you check out some team pictures, 92, 93, 91, 92, 93, Kenny Raggett had a beautiful mustache. And I'm very surprised that he didn't push Potvin out of the net just because of that mustache alone. Very surprising.
Oh, wow.
Kenny Raggett, number 5.
I like that. Number 4 here on the Saturday Night Five. This guy, everybody knows this guy had a mustache. But when we talk about mustaches, it's always Wendell Clark. It's always Lanny Mcdonald. I don't think this mustache gets near enough credit for how hardworking it was, how bushy it was. It was great. The 13th captain in Maple Leaf history.
No.
Rob Ramage.
Dude. Okay, look, here's where it's at with Rob Ramage, Chad. The mustache is incredible, and I wanted to put him on my list. Incredible mustache.
It's you have to give him props with the mustache.
A lot of off-ice turbulence with Rob Ramage.
Tons of off, but this is mustaches that didn't give credit.
You're right. Some very serious. You know what I think happened here? When he shaved that mustache, I think he started getting into some serious off-ice troubles. If he would have just kept that mustache, I think he would have been okay. We're talking DUIs and some maybe other really serious things I don't want to get into.
Yeah, no. We're not. This isn't the criminal 2000s Rob Ramage.
No,
this isn't the DU. We're not going to go into the DUIs and stuff. But
yes. Okay, give me a year on this. What are we talking here? 80s, early 80s?
We're talking 80s. We're talking
before Wendell.
Yeah, before the DUIs and before all the criminal charges. The mustache,
possibly murder.
Possibly murder. We don't know. I honestly don't know whether he was found guilty or not guilty. I have no idea what happened.
I think he served some hard time for that.
Well, he had
not to make light of it, but
no, we're not making light of it. But it's
I think he killed somebody. But if he would have just kept that mustache, it would have been smooth sailing, guaranteed.
Can I get a redo?
No, because I was thinking about him too. Like, that is a great pick.
I didn't think you were going to bring up all the.
Well, I wanted to pick him, but I thought, shit, man, like this guy's got so much fucking baggage. But a beautiful mustache, nonetheless. A beautiful mustache.
And never talked about mustache. And maybe that's because of the person.
It's like, we're not making light of the situation. We're not making light of this. We're just talking about Movember and mustaches here. Like, obviously, it's terrible if that did happen. Like, I know he was involved in like some crazy shit outside the game. We're not making light of it, but
yeah, just mustaches. We're not looking at criminal. Number 3.
Okay, like, look. Oh man. I hope I'm not stealing your thunder here, but this is a fucking beauty. And this could easily be number 1. But I'm going to put him at 3 because I've also got a special number 1. Number 3. Now, this is an absolute golden beauty. Holy fuck. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Glenn Anderson.
Yes. Glenn Anderson.
Now, this guy had a very thick, I don't think it's possible to have a thicker mustache than Glenn. If you look at Glenn Anderson, his days with the Oilers, and then he came over to the Leafs, and he was a part of those early 90s teams. Glenn Anderson had a fucking whopper of a mustache, a whale of a mustache. Okay.
He did. He had an amazing
Glenn
mustache.
Anderson. A lot of rumors about Glenn Anderson being gay and all that back in the day. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I don't think that's the case. When you have a mustache like that, I'm pretty sure it's fucking all business, all pussy all the time.
Yeah, well, and I've told this story before, but
maybe a dick here and there, but pretty much pussy.
Glenn Anderson denied me an autograph when I was 12 years old.
So. What a dick. What a fucking dick. But
he had just been traded to the Rangers, but then I just looked at the mustache and I'm like, I get it. You don't have to sign my hat.
He denied you an autograph, but I mean, you were obviously in awe of his mustache.
Oh, obviously.
So you probably gave it a free pass because you're like, I get it. This guy's got mustache work to do. I understand that. He's got no time to sign a fucking kid's autograph. He's got mustache work. He's got mustache.
A 12-year-old kid staying up all night or waiting outside the building, and then finally Glenn Anderson comes out, and you're like, Glenn, can I have an autograph? And he's like, no. No, I don't think so. Hey, thanks, Glenn. You fucking dick.
But a beautiful mustache nonetheless.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Very underrated. Let's just reiterate that. All of these underrated.
And no criminal convictions.
No, not that we know of.
Anyway, number 2 on the list. I'm going coach. This isn't a player, but this is a coach. And he coached the Leafs in the 80s for a pretty good period of time. I know the team wasn't great, but I don't know how you don't get motivated to win a Stanley Cup when you look over your shoulder and you see this half-bald mustache looking down on you, the one and only Tom Watt.
You're right. Very underrated. You have mentioned him before in a mustache, I think here or there.
You couldn't see his upper lip.
No, I know.
All stash.
I think you've ran his name past before on one of our mustache lists. We do a lot of them, folks. Okay. If you're new here, we fucking love mustaches.
In November, we go crazy.
And you're right. That is an underrated mustache because look, when you think of Leafs coaches and mustaches, you think of Patty Burns, and we've talked about
Burns. Everyone knows Pat Burns had a mustache.
But that's not. Well, Burnsy wasn't an underrated mustache. That was you get it. That's the mustache you're looking for. You're right. Yeah.
Tom Watt does not get enough respect for the mustache he had, and it may be the fact that instead of just shaving his head and going bald, he kept the hair around the side and let the top go bald. That can sometimes make the mustache look weak. But
you're right.
In this case, I don't think it was a weak mustache.
You're right.
And again, no criminal charges.
Not that we're aware of.
All right, who is it? The number 1 of this week's Saturday Night 5.
Okay, man, I'm glad I saved this for number 1 because I do think it's the best. I don't know. Glenn Anderson is I was going to name him one.
Glenn Anderson is a good one because I didn't even think of Glenn Anderson.
Glenn Anderson and the guy I'm about to name are interchangeable. They both could have been number 1. One could have slipped to 3. Interchangeable. Number 1. Underrated mustache in Toronto Maple Leafs history. I'm going back to the goaltenders for my number 1 pick. And I'm talking about the cocaine cowboy, Grant Fuhr.
That's what I thought you were going to say on number 5.
No, I had to throw Walmsley in there. Or sorry, not Walmsley. Or was it Rick Walmsley?
No, it was Ken Reggett.
Oh, okay. Honorable mention to Rick Walmsley. He might have had I don't think Walmsley had a stash, but Kenny Reggett did.
Honorable mention.
But and you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think Ken Reggett was the backup in the early 90s. I think it was Rick Walmsley. I think I misspoke there. I must have misremembered. I think Ken Reggett was just playing. He might have been an 80s mustache. Sorry, my mistake on that one.
Either way, great pick.
But look, let's get serious here. Cocaine Cowboy, Grant Fuhr, before Potvin came in. When was Fuhr? Fuhr was just before Felix, right?
He's early 90s, 90.
Or was he a stopgap after Felix?
No, they traded for him. He was the starting goalie, and then they ended up trading Fuhr and letting Potvin run with it.
Okay. They traded Fewer to the Blues, I think.
Yeah, Potvin came in, and if you've ever seen The Passion Returns, the 1992-93 VHS on the run that the Leafs had, Pat Burns says in that video that he went to Cliff Fletcher, and Fletcher said to him, do you think we should trade Fewer? Do you think Felix can do it? And he's like, I think the kid can do the job. And then they traded Grant Fewer.
Look, I cannot guarantee that when Grant came over to Toronto,
I'm a cocaine cow.
That's just it, man. I cannot guarantee when Grant came over to Toronto and was playing for the Leafs that he was still dabbling in the nose candy. But when he was winning cups for the Edmonton Oilers, this guy was fucking like high on cocaine every fucking night. This guy, cocaine is a hell of a drug, and Grant Fewer fucking loved it.
Allegedly.
No, that's a fact, bro. That is not allegedly. That is 100% known fucking fact. Cocaine cowboy Grant Fewer, #1 underrated mustaches in Leafs history.
All right.
Hey everyone, Dale here. Thank you very much for watching the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. While you're here, why don't you take a look around at some of our other videos? And if you want to listen to the audio version of our podcast, we are available on all podcast platforms. You can check in the description below. And if you want to support the podcast, you can do so by going to our Patreon page, and you can find a link to that as well. The Tip In Maple Leafs Podcast.